long until we get Kim back.
What? No, you just printed out my personal log and wasted some paper. Yes. Or no. Not anymore.
She doesn't seem surprised to be recognized. Rather sad. Something...
I am Soona Luukkanen-Kilde, the former lead programmer of Fortress Accident and RSA radios.
She sounds very
I have over
Swedish.
16 years of programming experience, and I'm proficient in both Vox and Orbis languages.
What about Python?
If you're not here
Ruby?
to hire me, I don't really know how I can help you. No? Yes. And? I don't care. I don't care about crap men.
Fair enough.
What? No. No one's suspicious around here.
She has not seen her, sire.
I brought them here. These are my machines. Please don't touch anything.
Fine.
I use the AR1 as my RAME prefix processing unit. Mm-hmm. Yes? You really don't know anything about radio computers, do you? All right. Well, all radio computers perform operations up on air. So in order to gain more processing power, you need to invest in a good antenna.
Right.
On the front, the unified front of radio waves, licensed and controlled by Lintel in the East Insulindic region.
Of course. Lintel doesn't sound anything like Intel at all.
It's all around us. That's what on air means.
Like
Cloud.
love.
Right, conceptualization being all fucking
I guess it
whimsical.
is. So far, I've been quite satisfied with it. Martinez is an unstable region with bad coverage, and the operation has been surprisingly stable. But it's
Well, don't
not
knock
the
it.
cheapest one on the market. So I wouldn't recommend it for your regular red tape operations. Fraser 1000 is a foolproof line for civilians.
I'm no civilian.
Anyway, you should do some research before you decide to buy anything. Ask around, compare the prices. There are many milieus dedicated to that sort of thing.
She liked telling me this. It calmed her nerves.
I'm working.
The machine seems almost alien with its pulsing core. The light casting her face in a strange shadow.
Could you just shh for a moment? Or get to the point. I really need to focus on something.
It's not
Alright,
just
go on.
rudeness. It really is hard to concentrate on whatever she needs to do. And you're not helping.
So you do know something about computers. You're right. Prefect is used mostly by the government peeps. No, I don't. Because I needed something good for my investigation, and RAME Civic is widely agreed to be below all standards. So I had to upgrade.
Well, how did you get it?
Besides, owning a RAME prefect isn't such a big deal anymore.
No, actually, it is kind of a big deal. You don't see REAM prefects in every police department, for example.
Well, how did you get it?
I know a friend of a friend who used to freelance for the Coalition. I was actually aiming for the military-grade RAME Revachol series, but couldn't find one. Prefect is mainly based on the same technology as RAME Civic, so it's kind of a rip-off. But it does have better compatibility with newer antenna models, so I won't complain. They are connected to my RAME Prefect. Whatever you do, just please don't move them, okay? Thanks.
Short and terse. There you have it. Whatever she's using them for, they're hers.
Great. You really like those questions, don't you?
I'm a
They're
policeman.
bloodshot. She really hasn't been getting much sleep lately, has she?
I'm conducting scientific research here. You can't throw me out.
Didn't say I was gonna.
I'm looking for the location of a 2mm hole in the world.
What?
Wait, what? She's looking for a disruption in the radio waves. That's what her personal log said.
Yes, that's what led me here. But I suspect it might be something a bit more complicated than that. Yes, that's what led me here. Exactly. What does it mean? Up to now, it has been impossible to say what it is because it's impossible to measure nothing. What
Right.
do you think it is?
I don't
What
know.
qualities does nothing have? How do you measure something that does not exist?
You don't?
That's a little above your pay grade at the moment.
I don't know. Are we? That's what I'm trying to figure out here. You measure it by its surroundings, by that which does exist, which is what I've been trying to do. I've tried using hydro transducers to record the silence, to find
Just
out
the
where
water.
it begins.
Hydro transducers. So that's what those water basins are. Devices for recording sound through water.
But honestly, it's not progressing very well. Somewhere underneath those roof beams, I assume.
Only a faint crisscross of rafters can be made out from the dark. Most of the tower disappearing into the shade. Strange things may flourish in the dark.
There's this place at the back of the church, a place where all audible vibrations seem to decease. I've named it the Swallow, and the higher you go, the less you record. I know.
But you said you didn't care
I
about
don't.
him.
She sounds mildly annoyed by this line of questioning. Her hands typing hundreds of commands into the machine.
Because it's just trial and error, trying to locate the Swallow, the exact point in space. And I don't have a... You know what? It would be really helpful if you could just stop talking and let me work. Great. Thanks. The Swallow, you mean? Great. Thanks. What? I hate it.
I bet
Why?
she hasn't even heard it.
Yeah. Like all the time. My tent neighbors don't really ease up with their partying, do they? Maybe I'd have to be on drugs to get it, but to a sober mind it just sounds like uninspired rug whipping. No
Rug
idea what it
whipping.
has to do with either dancing or music. This is about those speed freaks in the tent, isn't it?
It is.
I've got some news for you. It's not a nightclub they want to build here.
We know they want to make drug den.
Take a guess, why don't you? I can't believe they got you so easily. Go have another talk with those up-and-coming entrepreneurs, will you? Thanks.
We already know. Shut up. Talk to me.
Yes, what is it?
Yes, what is it?
The mother.
No. Where's Krabby? Grabola. So where's the swallow? Is it where that noise is coming from? I need Kim. Where's my Kim? He fucked off with that bloody dead body, didn't he? Bast. Hello, Stripy Cat. You like that, don't you? Go and talk to the tent twats again. Brrr. Hello.
And? What happened? Oh man! Who is he? What did you... Really? Huh. Interesting. What's he doing in the church?
No matter. Is he gonna be a problem?
Yeah. Noid is right. Let's get back to the point. What are we gonna do about him?
These guys will
Leave him
never
alone.
catch him. You will never catch him. There's nothing to do.
But he's likely up to no good. He's a crab man.
I guess it's not a massive problem, now that I think of it.
Everyone is welcome to dance till the morning light. Yeah!
Maybe. I guess we'll figure something out. Okay, but what about the other spooker? The one in Grandma's clothes? Did you see her? A programmer? That's odd. What was she like? Did you ask her about the nightclub?
What a pity! That's my favourite thing in the world! And she doesn't like it at all!
A shame. What can we do now? Do you see a way out of this jam? And into a laser-lit future of dance and unity?
Yeah.
Unity! Dance!
Hardcore!
And you can't just evict her?
Look at you, honour man!
No, Noid. He's right. Maybe we've approached it the wrong way after all. I'm sure if that's okay with her, we only want to get in the church and spread the joy and ecstasy of music.
The lines in the dark exist, coexist.
At least Crabman seems like an advanced being. He's hard. He'll understand.
Yeah, he can do his climbing thing in the tower. And the programmer, does she like Nordic dance music?
Egghead cannot believe what she just said. It makes him pump the jam a little slower for a moment, but then he returns to the full swing of it.
No worries, we'll figure it out. If coexisting fails, you can always muscle her out, right? If it's all okay with you, what do you think? Excellent! Good luck, my friend. He's a quiet man, mostly communicates through music, and by being a master of ceremonies. You know, a host, a declaimer of slogans. He's a performer, gets the people going.
Interesting, sire. A bit like you, then. An MC for short.
Well, he's just kinda here. I don't really know how to communicate with him. Yeah, sometimes, when I stumble and find my way into his center, you have to hear a lot of hardcore to the mega first though.
What's Egghead?
The man smiles mysteriously, choosing to let the beat speak for itself. I get it. He's a puzzle.
Right.
Goodbye.
Yeah, goodbye.
Huh? I see you're here.
Right. Right. Hello, D. Hello.
Hello again.
Goodbye. Run, Mr. Popo.
You see that seagull up there? Remind you of anybody? Exactly. Think about the seagull's story. It's one of endurance and adaptation. The seaside was paradise once. They were birds of that paradise. Then their paradise became Shit City. And what did they do? They became urban survivors, eating burgers out of no time for that sentimental bullshit. You have.
We've done this.
Own it.
We did that. We already heard this. We already heard the storyline in the last episode, I'm sure. About being a Siegs. Right, what time's it? 4:20. Got ages until Kim's back. What's that? What is that? Why's there money in the rock? Wow, what is that? It's like a vault, like Fallout. What is this?
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see a handle. The concrete structure looks military in origin, over half a century old.
I need interfacing. Ooh. Level 4. Nah, man. Give me this. I got any interfacing clothes? No. Alright, we'll do that later then, I guess. What's that noise? A train. Huh. Someone made a campfire. What is that? Sounds like ice breaking.
Is there something here that would indicate a sniper used this place as a nest for taking the shot? Just some
Think about
urban
that.
detritus, a bottle, and a dilapidated old comms tower. The wind picks up. Fine sea foam lashes your face. It feels like needles. You can take it. Just raise your collar, detective, to warm his hands before you pull the trigger. There are no markings on the ground for a tripod. He would have had to lie on a mattress. This is simply not a good spot for a 1.2 kilometer shot. The salty water has corroded the ladder to nothing but two thin orange rails. In addition, there is no stable nest up there. It would have been useless. A smoking assailant who favors Timotiri to Ostra or Duhon. Cigarette butts are part of the campfire set. They're also everywhere. Still, you felt it was important enough to make a mental note. That means something.
Does
You
it?
didn't pay attention to any of the other cigarette butts on the coast. There, 1.2 kilometers over the cold water of the bay, through a thick snowstorm melting flake by flake in the waves, you see the smallest rectangle, barely visible.
That's
A
too
glowing
far.
light on the third floor of the Whirling in Rags. With binoculars, you would see a young woman's shape move behind the glass, her limbs long and slender.
It is doable.
Smoking, drinking, being happy and elated without you. Because you're here, freezing in the wind, aren't you? Doing your detective work.
Yeah, but she's not interested in me. Scented scar. It's fine, my shivers are disgustingly high already. So we've checked out one of the 3 spots that the sniper could have been at. We can tell Kane when he's back. Oh. Why is there a nice shirt in there? Yeah. Alright, no. Run faster, Harry. That's the phone, right?
You pick up the handset. There's a tone. The machine is up
I can phone up Kim.
calling.
I'm tired.
Sounds like he hasn't talked to anyone in quite a while.
If I could go just 1 month without writing, no, 2 months, I could regenerate my brain.
He's Irish.
Fucking liberal.
The man disappears with a sigh. You do not hear the customary disconnect tone, just silence in the handset. The machine is still waiting for you to dial a number. Seems like it did not have time to swallow the coin. This sometimes happens. Lucky you. The call went too fast for the payphone to register. You can still make a new one without paying.
Fine.
You close your eyes and put your index finger on the rotary dial, then pull down on the number, then move one up, and repeat the motion twice.
Who are we phoning?
Strange. This is not how you started before. 414447. The rotary dial feels cold from the sea air.
Who are we phoning?
1117361. Your fingers keep moving like a spider. Every time the ring rotates back with a little ring of metal, like a bell tolling. Yes, 451 67451. You are going deeper now, into some unknown place, far away from this island of matter and its telecommunication networks.
Who are we phoning?
451. You have dialed God knows how many numbers. The headset has been waiting silently to relay a signal. Surely nothing can come of this, you think. But it does. A connection.
Who is it?
An ultra-long distance call. Your ear fills with a crackle, the wash of a strange ocean full of white noise. A little bird starts ringing in there, not like the local calling tone before. No, a small ring in a cage of distortion, far away. A distant network of phones. Calling in the night. The saddest sound in the world. Calling still. The handset starts slipping from your sweaty palm. Your breathing is heavy. Calling still. Then the ocean breaks. Out of the depths, a woman's voice emerges. Small. The dearest thing you've ever heard.
Who is it?
Hello?
Oh, Harry looks damaged.
Who is this? Dora. Who is this? The connection is bad.
Dora. The name feels like a gift. A gift that was meant for you, to make it possible to live. In the distorted distance, you hear someone turning next to her. Bed springs rattle. Don't react. Whatever you do, don't react to that last thing. It doesn't matter if you react or not. You still think you hear a man's voice in the background. It's covered in pain and white noise.
No. It's you, isn't it? It's you. What? Oh no. Is that you?
This is too much. You need to recede.
Oh no, not this. What time is it? You're not a high net worth individual, Harry. You're
Who's this?
drunk.
You only have 2, maybe 3 things left to say before the change runs out.
Oh God. Do you know what time it is? It's so late here. It's 4 o'clock, Harry. I need to wake up in 2 hours.
Who is this?
To work. The academy, where I work.
No response, only a sigh. The connection crackles like burning paper.
I'm in Morova, sleeping. Yes. What do you want to talk about that we haven't talked about already?
This is bad. You feel your right hand on the handset cramping up with pain.
Oh no, please stop. Please, let's just hang up. No, I want to go to sleep.
She does not answer anymore.
Harry.
Disconnect tone. The machine ran out of money.
That was his ex-wife.
Run to the church, home, anywhere but here. Anything but calling her again. You dial the number again. 26 pulls of the rotary dial. The machine eats the coin, and a terrifying ocean of distance rustles in your ear. In the middle of it, a familiar ring. Small, distorted. Calling.
I want to talk to her. Answer the
Call. It
phone.
looks like she doesn't want to pick it up, Harry. Stop scaring her. Come on, you know why. Calling.
Harry, please.
Underneath it, she is naked and warm under a blanket.
Please. I'm going to hang up now.
Phone disconnect tone.
I'll leave her, I'll leave her, I'll leave her, I'll leave her. She's really sad. It's really sad. And beautifully written. Like a lot of this game. Like all of this game. Can I get around that? No. What is this place? The fuck is that?
The smell. It's awful and familiar. It doesn't help. You can still smell it. Keep it in now. Don't overreact. Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency. That faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something
no.
cold wakes in the pit of your stomach. Fear. It is death. It must be. Yes. A sense of dread washes over you as you look ahead.
Oh, look, there's a dead guy.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper in the trash bin. 2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter is all you find. No, there's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic. Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra.
That's the same as what Harry smokes.
Red Astra is the black market version of Astra cigarettes, known for their high tar content. You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief.
Oh, there's a dead man. Oh, Kim. I need Kim.
A man lies on the boardwalk.
Oh, his
His
eyes.
limbs bent and neck turned.
I don't
at
like
an
that at
unnatural
all.
angle.
I don't like that
Right
at
next
all.
to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet.
He fell through the floor and smashed his head on the
The
bench.
smell is not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there. Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe. He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest.
Working class. This isn't the husband, is
The
it?
leather jacket suits him well. It must be custom made. A cool leather jacket with a bolt of blue? Oh no, this sounds terribly familiar. You
It's the
find some
husband.
sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into 2. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand. The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol. 3 bottles of wine, or 1.5 of spirits. Or maybe it was just dark. His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his moustache. His eyes
are
empty and
scaring
wide,
me.
look frightening in their frozen gaze.
100%. That is
Height,
scary.
170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age approximately 50 to 60 years. He was confused when he died. Confused and alone, most likely. Overcome with the awful surprise of it all. There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch. They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him. A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold. A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
And now he did.
Chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall. The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth. The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back. First, you need to talk with the lieutenant. Then report back to the station. This is too complicated to handle on your own.
It's gross and scary. But Kim's not here. Tasty fermentation. What are you looking at? How do I get back to the fisherman village? This way? Yes. Do that. A man and his child?
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You, officer, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I was just telling my son about this building. Not many people appreciate the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
You sound Dutch.
Yes, hypertext. Young carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks. Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall. Very important. Mikhail, say hi to the officer. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into verbs lately.
The man speaks in the artificial cadence of a professor. Or someone who's been on too many radio shows.
But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in '08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
Why are you so happy to talk to me when I'm just some random man?
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why?
What?
Well, get a load of this guy. He really enjoys his trivia. The Orbis programming language was named after its inventor, Victor Orbis, a cybernetician from Grad. They run Vox in the Occidental countries.
No, I'm afraid I can't help you with this one, officer. It's just a regular day off for me and Mikhail here.
There's something friendly and familiar in how he says that. A day off. He's telling the truth. He hasn't seen anyone.
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is, this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Hold on.
Right.
What's R&D? It looks
Research
old
and development.
and weathered, with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
Apologies, it's an acronym for research and development. They don't use it anymore. You're probably more familiar with RTD, research and technological development.
Mea culpa. You are not familiar with that one either. This man is a bookhead.
So are we.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve? I'm mixing my metaphors here. It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
Right, cool.
An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer. Which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, RAVE, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
He assumes something like a combat stance, facing the wind.
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Alright, kid.
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes. Possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D. Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A wheel?
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans. Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
Yeah?
He means that the boys got shot by the communists. The boys were bourgeois.
Tape computers. They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars.
Okay.
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02.
A short-lived legislative foundation for a short-lived utopia.
It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album,
Why is this guy talking to me?
You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware.
Buckle up.
10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje.
The what?
It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Jews joined the team, trying to...
The fucking Watty Doppy Dop?
Wait, did he just say Wompty Dumpty Dum Center? He did it. He said Wompty Dumpty Dum Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. What the hell is a Wompty Dumpty Dum Center? And who the hell are Keith and Guy Juiced?
The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to... In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space / contemporary art research center.
Okay.
But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was
made of black film and folding tape structures.
I certainly haven't. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionaries setting fire to this precious device. But so they did. The failed playback experiment vanished into the fires of 07. Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the Feld Playback Experience, but those are incorrect. Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either. But of course, what else? Sure, what's on your mind? But of course, I do have some money, yes, but that's not what's really important here.
He's not gonna give you money. What are you doing? Clearly you were just profiling. No, I mean, come on. You need the money. If it's not a thing, he can...
Of course, Detective. I wouldn't have assumed anything else. Matter of fact, I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the Vespertine Department of Justice has published a rather interesting paper on the criminal profiling in former socialist states. Have you read it? If not, then you definitely should. If not for tips and tricks, then just for theoretical curiosity. Anyway, that's just a little something that sprang to mind.
Right.
You were saying? No, thanks to you for having me and little Mikhail here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Pick your brain? If anything, this was rather one-sided. He did the talking. Whatever.
Yeah.
The once bright somewhere in my...
Pointless. Well, it felt pointless. Maybe it'll have a point later. Who dat?
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys.
I know.
Not out of this jam.
Your wife.
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officer.
His self-conscious enthusiasm renders his movements ungainly. He looks like your understanding of a scientist.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it. To what do I owe the pleasure?
Your wife's looking for you, mate.
That's sarcasm. He takes no pleasure from your appearance.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the AL-81. You broke the water lock with a motor carriage? There was a billboard in the canal. Not a vehicle. It said Samaran Butter.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary. We can go soon. If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
This is a man possessed, always on the brink of some breakthrough. He won't leave if there's a sliver of hope. The great find might happen today.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we go in.
For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
I'm afraid not, officer. I've been busy digging around in the reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in mammalian concerns, to be perfectly honest. Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
It's invisible.
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialised techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists, in our present case. It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defences that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defences work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid.
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
Right.
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of of any cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defences, find out how it stayed hidden so long,
Would be glory itself.
very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts. Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid. I know it's real.
It's
Okay.
clear that his obsession with the phasmid is driven by something more than the pure pursuit of scientific advancement.
By which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
What would it be like to grasp and hold onto something you think is next to you, or just behind you, like a trace of vapor you exhaled one spring morning as a child? This is what he's searching for. A spectre.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically.
What teenagers?
It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore. I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
What is that?
He means asexual reproduction. The females of the species don't need to mate to produce viable eggs. This makes it easier for a species with a small population to survive.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. but as a scientist, I try my best to remain dispassionate. Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick. Yes.
Is that it? Just yes?
Simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton. Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. But we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Why?
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm. A meat-eating stick insect? Does it pretend to be the reeds as part of its ambush behavior? This seems unlikely.
Thank you for your opinion. We have also included plant material in the traps to satiate your skepticism.
Not a big fan of skepticism, this one.
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
The traps do seem to be deftly and thoughtfully constructed. It's clear the cryptozoologist's wife knows what she's doing.
Yes. What? By woman, you mean my wife, I assume? I will return to her. I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
Crypto-fascist.
Won't let Lena down? Sounds like the cryptozoologist's wife shares a special connection to the phasmid somehow.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers. Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious phasmid.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
His spirit may be willing, but his body might be too old to endure the rigors of the coast.
No, no, no. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
He's dead set on this. I could go for some trap setting.
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer. Well, be that as it may, I'd really appreciate the help. There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church.
Yeah,
the
I know
third
that.
is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than sorry. Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
He's not comfortable with the possibility that you'll claim the find, but he's lying about this even to himself.
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed.
Right.
It's made of musk and research chemicals. The pheromone should attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Will last you about a week.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water. It's not so different from the putrefaction of the hanged man, actually.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask.
Finally, you're being sensible. I'll start packing right now.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later, too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both.
He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up, if you prod a little.
It's not child's play, just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often. Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does. Indeed, my methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Your nerve endings tell you there is no such thing as a positive surprise.
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying.
Right.
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
He's interested in things that people believe that scientists don't.
Most establishment scientists only care about reputation and remuneration, not real research, and certainly not the truth. They're a cowardly lot, and both the field and basement archives can be dangerous places. No, very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid. Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemney, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes.
Right.
2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection. Yes, the Chateau Quan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Yugograd, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves, more so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching. Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushantu. It will be a zoological miracle.
The hair on your arms stand up. Electricity. Sounds like reeds hissing. He has clearly done his math on this. There is no surprising him or swaying his opinion.
We'll find it.
Yes? All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what...
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it. Since you've offered to help, you need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
Formerly the most dangerous, yes. But do you know the most dangerous living cryptid?
He doesn't want to make it feel like you knowing it is some big deal.
The most dangerous cryptid is a carnivorous ruminant, known colloquially as the dread moose. Yes, the dread moose subsists entirely on flesh. It has even been known to dig up fresh graves in search of sustenance. Human remains have been found deep in the forest, torn apart, then trampled into the mulch by large hooves. Infer from that what you will. Just like an ordinary Arden moose. You can't. That's what makes it so dreadful and hard to identify.
A moose that looks like any other moose. What's going on here? He's kidding, right?
You're right to. The bodies found in the forest are just one piece of physical evidence. We also have sightings in Vasa, reaching back 4 centuries. In fact, we may be close to capturing a live specimen. Modern genetic methods may prove crucial in differentiating the dread variant from the herbivorous one. Anyway, by all means.
I need to call a session because the baby is crying. So, until next time, thanks so much for tuning in. Bye!